Are you listening? Damn. Uh.
Hey, beautiful people, I am back. It is your girl, Tando Manaka, and I am Media Mom. Welcome back to those who are returning, and if you're new here, welcome to the crew, and I hope you don't forget to subscribe so you can continue to, enjoy the content that I'm pushing out for you guys. So, guys, it's another week, and we're actually about to approach the weekend. While I'm recording this, approaching the weekend. So I want to give a big shout out because this weekend we're going to be celebrating my little sister's birthday. Happy birthday, Nene. Have a lovely day, and I hope you have an amazing month. And yeah, girl, look at you growing up. Look at you. I just wanted to give her a little quick shout out before we get started with today's topic. Guys, brace yourselves. I'm about to get into something I think is really cool and a trend I'm starting to see emerge. And hopefully, it won't just be a trend, but something that shifts and changes the landscape as we know it. So stay tuned.
Are you listening?
All right, guys. So imagine a world where you could get paid for consuming media. Well, that is not so far fetched right now. We are entering the space where the creator economy that we've seen kind of take over the digital landscape is evolving into what I would say is a digital consumption economy, where we are now no longer just seeing creators being able to monetize their content through YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. But now we're getting into a space where consumers, you and me, just a regular everyday person, can start to actually monetize your consumption. And I know, it sounds wild, but this is happening as we speak. There are already platforms that are coming out into the market and creating these opportunities for consumers to monetize their engagement. Because the value, again, remember, as I've spoken about in previous videos, the value of any platform is its audience. And the information you can learn about that audience is valuable to brands that want to reach you. So now taking the power back from these platforms or taking the power back from media outlets is where we're going. We're getting into the space where your consumption could be your paycheck. I don't know. Did I say that right? So, before we get into what I'm talking about around the digital consumption economy, let's go back, rewind a little bit, and unpack and just revise on what the creator economy is. So, think about social media when it first started with Facebook, Instagram, and all these cool platforms getting into the market and creating opportunities for creators to become influencers and work with brands directly to generate income. And the way that we're doing this, or have been doing this, continue to do this, is through sponsorships, affiliate marketing, as well as in content ads. So the platform will then place ads within those videos you're watching. So these have become revenue streams and now created a world where content creators are actually making substantial amounts of money from creating content. Now, the reality is starting to shift. We're getting into a space now where consumers are becoming more and more aware of the value of their data. With things like the Poppy Act coming in South Africa, as well as the GDPR in the UK or Europe, we're starting to see the value of our data as consumers. So, what is happening now? Companies are being forced to revise their models in such a way that they can accommodate and create value for consumers through their engagement. Because the more you engage with them, the more they learn about you. And thus, consumers are then saying, hey, I want to check for what you're learning about me. Because your data, again, guys, is so valuable in this landscape. So, like I said, there's been a shift, right, from media outlets owning this marketplace to creators then taking the power and creating spaces and platforms where they can engage consumers directly and brands can go through them. Well, now consumers are at the driver's seat, my bad, the driver's seat of this value exchange that's happening. So this shift is really interesting because the role of the creator economy kind of paved the way for this digital consumption economy. where without the creator economy, we really wouldn't see this pivot and this shift in the market. So we do definitely have to thank our influencers for creating a space where we can realize the value that we hold as consumers and audiences on all these platforms. And now businesses are starting to take note of this and looking at ways to integrate this even into their business models, and even platforms being established just for this very purpose. So we'll get a little bit deeper into which platforms I've identified that have used these types of models already in the market. And then we're going to discuss also how businesses can incorporate this into their own business models so that they aren't eating away at their own revenue at the end of the day, or their profits at the end of the day. Because nobody, again, if you're a business owner, you don't want to lose out on these opportunities, but you also don't want to sacrifice your bottom line in order to build this relationship with consumers. Now you might be wondering, okay, Tando, how do I get paid to consume media? And this is how it works, right? I'm going to give you two examples of platforms that do this already and that exist in the market. Just so you know, this is not a sponsored ad. I'm just giving you this information because I came across it. And like I said before, guys, if I let this information marinate in my brain for too long, it might just explode. So I have to share the knowledge. So first and foremost, you've got this platform that I actually only learned about this week while watching another YouTube video. And it's called Test Them All, right? Test Them All. And on this platform, users are then paid or rewarded with points and discounts on different brands and from different outlets, retail outlets. They are then rewarded for testing platforms, games, watching videos, or even just participating in surveys. So, for example, I'll insert some screenshots from like my profile. I haven't been that active, so please, like I said, it's not a paid promotion. But what you can see is I can get 50% off on a take a lot basket or even select items from Woolies, as just an example of some ways that I could be rewarded for just downloading a game and playing on it. And then there's another option for us to engage with surveys, answering these questionnaires. Again, research is very expensive. So the more you're able to engage in research with consumers, the more you learn about them, the more value you're able to get from them and also in turn offer them as brands. So this was very interesting because I remember once upon a time in my life when I was a research account manager and I would go to different brands, so media agencies and brands, and we were proposing this research tool, right? Using chatbots to give out surveys through social media platforms, right? So your X, Twitter, your Facebooks, and so on. So we could actually deploy these chatbots with a set survey for your brand to understand what your brand uplift was, your brand recall, and all those wonderful things that brands want to know. Now, the thing we always used to tell our clients when we were proposing this product to them is that you never want to let the consumer know that you are the one paying for the study. Because, well, if I know that Woolies is giving me a survey, I'm anticipating that I might get something out of it at the end. So I'm going to always answer in favor of the brand. The beauty of a tool like this, in terms of, was testimony. Yes, I have notes here, so forgive me. The beauty of a platform like this is that it is very anonymous. You don't know if the brand is paying for that um, app to actually get to you so that they can learn more about you. And in the ways that the questions are asked, there is a way to, yes, indicate category, but you don't need to know exactly who it is that you're answering for, right? So that's such a cool thing that I thought, just looking at the app and engaging with it, that I remember just from my experience that, yeah, actually, you always want to make sure that it's a bit anonymous and people are opting in. But you do want to put a reward, you kind of want to attach it to a reward, but then you don't want the reward to be linked back to the brand, because then consumers will know that the survey is for whatever brand and thus will answer the questions in favor of that brand. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. So with this, you kind of have an opportunity to go directly to consumer, engage them, and even test products that you're looking to launch, digital products that is, like games or new apps that you want to launch and you just want to see if there are any bugs in the system. This is a great way for consumers to opt into participating in your study, your research as a brand, but also being rewarded and feeling like, okay, there is a value exchange. And then we've got another platform, and forgive me if I'm butchering the name, I will put it on the screen, but it's XCAD, I think, which uses a watch to earn model where users, everyday people, are paid or rewarded in tokens that you can then use online to pay for other things, or you can, exchange that currency in different ways. But you are then rewarded for watching YouTube content. So this is a creator collective where they've come together and started looking at different ways again to leverage these ecosystems that exist online. So that is another model and opportunity for users to start generating an income from doing what they already do. You're already going to be scrolling on social. You're already going to be watching YouTube videos. You might as well get a reward for it because these brands, these platforms are learning a lot about you. You're giving them data by the way that you engage. And with this watch to earn model, for example, it also incentivizes creators on these platforms because it drives their engagement. It drives the watchability of their content, but it also drives overall engagement, which then they can use in their creator economy to then leverage in their affiliate marketing or in their brand sponsorships that they're using. So this economy, guys, like I've said, it's evolving in such an interesting way. And these are like phenomenons or trends that I'm hoping will continue to like evolve in the market that we see today. So you may be wondering to yourself, okay, but why is this important? If it hasn't like clicked for you yet, let me drill it down a little bit further because back in the day or traditionally, brands would play media outlets and platforms as well as creators to put ads in front of you. But right now, the shift that we are seeing is that your attention becomes a form of currency in itself. And you then get incentivized to continue to engage and participate in this value exchange between brands, creators, as well as platforms, so that everybody kind of wins in that situation. You're no longer giving out your data for free for brands to use at their own leisure, but now you're becoming an active participant in this entire value exchange, which I think is really, really cool. So, in terms of why this shift is happening, what is driving it, ad fatigue is number one. Consumers are tired of being fed content or ads that they feel may not be relevant to them, or always being bombarded with a lot of a lot of ads all the time. So, this is where we've seen the phenomenon of paid subscriptions where you can have ad free experiences. And this also indicates to the market that, hey, consumers are willing to fork out money in order to not have to be interrupted in their consumption of media because people are consuming media out of leisure, either for entertainment or education, but it's oftentimes a leisurely experience and they don't want this experience to be interrupted. But at the same time, we are understanding as consumers that yes, there is something worthwhile in letting brands know what it is that I want, but at the same time, you don't want it to be too intrusive. So, this kind of creates this middle ground where brands and consumers and platforms are able to engage on terms that are comfortable for everybody involved. And then also we've got data privacy and regulation, and we can never forget the POPI Act and the GDPR that have gone into the system and how this has shifted how brands are able to leverage the data that they have been using over time. Now this dynamic has changed and they need to be quite regulated and quite stringent in the way that they use consumer data. Well, this then allows you an opportunity as a consumer to say, hey, I don't mind the brand knowing this about me. I don't mind brands understanding this about me because I do enjoy tailored content. But at the same time, you can also opt out and be like, you know what, I don't need you to know anything about me. So it's this great balance of you then choose to be an active participant again in this landscape. So we also have then the fragmentation of media. So millennials, we saw this happening where digital consumption was driving this fragmentation, streaming came into play, but we're seeing this evolve even further with the Gen Zs as well as your Gen Alphas coming into this digital landscape where everything feels a little bit way like in fact not a little bit a way more fragmented than it was 10 years ago. For example, when I started in the media industry, we then were also still struggling to understand how we will wrangle in the audiences and understandings from these different platforms and how to then translate that for brands. It's getting even more difficult today as the media landscape or the digital media landscape continues to become even more fragmented. So this creates an opportunity again for brands to participate in a value exchange directly with consumers. And this is why we're seeing a lot of things around first party data acquisitions with brands where they want to now engage directly with their consumers, understand who their consumers are without relying on third party platforms to provide them with those insights. So we're seeing these phenomena like coming to play already in different ways, but they're leading us, in my opinion, down this avenue of the consumption economy. Now, of course, there are going to be challenges when you are looking at such a big shift or a pivot in the landscape, right? And the first two things I can think of where we will experience some type of pushback is brands trying to understand how sustainable this model is. And it makes sense. You don't want to give away all of your products or a huge chunk of your products or experiences for free to consumers um, and eat into your bottom line, right? So that is a concern that definitely you do need to take note of is how sustainable is this for your brand and how then can you implement it in such a way that it doesn't eat away at your bottom line. And also there's regulation. Wherever there's technological evolutions and even innovations, regulation tends to lag behind in understanding how then we can make this safer for both consumers and brands in such a way that nobody is being manipulated and there is a fair trade between the two. So obviously this will continue to evolve and I like I've said before guys, I don't have all the answers, but these are the things that I'm starting to see and these are the things that are going to then start to substantiate this kind of economy. And with those being said, I do still believe that the good far outweighs the bad, or the potential greatness far outweighs the risk involved in this new type of way of looking at digital consumption as a form of or monetization through consumption. It is definitely way more opportune and way more aligned with a human or consumer human focused approach in business models. So to wrap this things up a little bit for you guys, I want to find out from you, do you think this digital consumption economy is the future? For me, I think it is. And whether it is being paid to test apps and games as well as do surveys online through Test Them All or even watch to earn models that you have through XSAD, right? Whether it is one or the other, we are definitely shifting into a space where your consumption is valuable, your attention is a commodity, and brands acknowledge and respect that, and you are also consciously aware of it. So, I do have a LinkedIn article that I'm going to be linking below in the description. Please go check it out because I do expand a little bit more and also look into how brands can then leverage this for their own businesses. So hope to see you guys in the comment section engaging. Let me know what your thoughts are around the consumption economy. Do you really think we're evolving, or am I crazy for thinking this? Let me know in the comment section, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and please engage. I hope to see you soon. Bye.
Have you ever felt? Are you listening? Damn.